Hey everyone, welcome to another exciting episode of 7-Minute Scaling Secrets, where we interview entrepreneurs and learn a secret on how they scaled up their businesses. Today, we have a special guest, Derrick Chew, who has pivoted an entire industry on his head. And I think it's really going to be interesting to see how he did it and why he actually made this pivot. This episode was brought to you by Superscaling. Join the foundation program today and learn how you can systemize and superscale your business so that you can get $100,000 a month at least, with a productive team from all over the world, raving fans as clients, and happy founders who have true freedom. Visit superscaling.com/foundation today. And now back to the episode. Derrick, welcome to the show, and please tell the audience, more about yourself, what happened, and where you are right now.
Well, thank you for having me. Firstly, Alvin. Hello, everyone. My name is Derrick. I'm the creative director of Sightlines Entertainment. We started out as a company producing live theater events. And as Alvin mentioned, the biggest buzzword of COVID was pivot. So in the last 2 years, we've actually pivoted to becoming a creative studio that produces immersive theatrical experiences, combining both film, theater, and gaming with technology to create an experience that for an entertainment for people that may not be able to now go out in the live setting, perhaps during COVID, or are looking for interesting experiential activities and entertainment in this new kind of COVID world.
Right.
Yeah. So that's our kind of pivot as a company.
So this started when, the pandemic started, I guess, in 2020?
2020, yeah.
2020, right? So This is really interesting because you not just only like pivoted an entire industry, you've started to really evolve as well, right? It's not just a simple thing where, the pandemic hit, people can't go out and therefore we shall go online. You've now created a series of entertainment events that integrate various aspects. You've mentioned it just now where you said that there's tech elements, right? There's immersive elements. There's even a different face-to-face experience. How did the evolution happen? Like, are you a tech person?
No, I think everyone in my team, my friends will tell you that I am actually really a tech idiot. So when it comes to tech, if you remember, I called you for some tech help along the way for the recent project. So I'm really quite a tech idiot. But I think what got me going was really about this motto and this quote that I actually learned from a business mentor that I attended called Marshall Thurber, a class that he taught. And he actually mentioned that you cannot use the methods of yesterday to compete in the economies of tomorrow. And that has really stuck through me, through my entire journey as an entrepreneur in the past, even till now. And you would agree with me that in every business, change is always there, and you need to be adaptable to change. You need to be agile, and you just need to just move with it, right? So I think that was something that learning that I had in the past that carried me through this entire journey. To just share, the story in a nutshell. In 2020, I was supposed to do a big production, and this was to schools. We sold out. We were able to basically everything was going well. This was supposed to be in February 2020. And all of a sudden in January 2020, we heard the news about COVID, and the school started pulling out, and we were all in a loss, right? But I think during circuit breaker, during lockdown, it gave us really a lot of opportunities to try new things and to evolve and to evaluate. Right. And I think that was that process where we started trying new things. And because of being locked down, we had a lot of opportunities to meet new people online and work with various industries and different people. You see, so basically, you're right. How we have just evolved into working with various industries, tech, video, and all these different elements, games, to combine them into something to what we do today.
Wow. And how does this work? Like, so do you now have a tech team in-house? Is that something that you started developing over the months since the pandemic struck? Or do you have partners that you work with?
Yeah.
Is this something that like somebody that has like maybe little capital or no capital, is that something that people can do with their businesses?
Absolutely. So I think one of the biggest stumbling blocks for my friends in the industry, or for people in general, they think that tech is very expensive, or it's having to develop everything from scratch. But I think even in tech, right? I think that there is that saying, what evolve a test and then fail quickly and then change and then tweak.
Yes.
Those tech lingos, right? Because having to meeting all these people, I now have that kind of lingo and stuff. But essentially what we did was we were connected to various tech people, and during COVID, obviously everybody was trying to help one another and was very free also. So we basically said, okay, what if we come together and collaborate and partner together and do this together, right?
So in terms of tech, how does that happen? Businesses all want to be tech enabled. Does tech require a lot of capital? Like, how do you start from somebody that doesn't really know tech, doesn't really have a lot of tech traditionally, but now is like so tech enabled? How does that happen?
Yeah. So you're right. You're completely right that I have zero tech. Everyone will tell you on my team that I'm really, a tech idiot and stuff. But I think, when it comes to tech, the biggest kind of concern that I think a lot of my peers and people in my industry also fear is that it's really costly. I don't have the capability to develop this entire thing, and the thing is, you don't know what you don't know, right? But I think for us, we've been really fortunate that we've been connected to the right people, and I think also during COVID, during lockdown, because everyone is wanting to do something. Even the tech guys, right? And wanting to help each other. So I think we had a lot of collaboration going on. So we never kind of developed anything in-house. It was really about collaborating with different partners. And I believe that collaboration moving forward in this new world, in the new economy, that is going to be the way forward. Like how people come together to work together.
Right.
And so even in our first projects till now, we've always been working on a collaboration model. And then also, of course, creating the product together, and then, of course, looking at profit sharing and stuff like that. So that's how we've been working, and along the way, obviously, we had to learn different things because it was a new way of working. It was a new way of a new vocabulary, even because I don't know all these things, right? But I think now after 2 years, we've kind of developed a structure, an SOP. That's how we've actually worked together, and I think businesses should be open, should think about collaborating and be open for such partnerships.
Yeah, I love that. It doesn't just happen in tech. Actually, sometimes the best things that can happen is every single entrepreneur that I know are very, very resourceful, and I think that defines entrepreneurship. The ability to pool resources from places that conventionally are not seen to be possible. And in the end, it's a win-win arrangement that we all want, right? Everybody wants to win in some sense, right? Like whether it's to get more exposure, to get more clients, to get more revenue, and to figure out a win-win arrangement, I think is the best way forward. No matter what it is, not just tech. It could be a product, it could be something. And yes, as entrepreneurs, we don't have everything at our disposal. Sometimes we don't have the knowledge. Sometimes we don't have the capital. But I love what you said about collaboration and finding partners out there that could potentially help us and get us towards those objectives that we want. And sometimes it just requires more creativity in piecing together that win-win arrangement so that both parties can benefit from it. Absolutely love it. So you are now a tech-enabled, immersive, integrated, highly experiential entertainment powerhouse. I think that's the best way to describe you right now. I think there are a lot of adjectives. Tell us more about how your typical consumer, your customer has evolved. I'm sure before COVID, before 2020, your customer was probably a certain type. And right now, has that demographic changed?
I think talking about customer and that's really something that I strongly believe in, and I think that's where we really align on the same level, right? I think my biggest gripe is that how in Singapore, at least, and I won't say entertainment, but theatre and the arts, it's always seemed to be very highbrow, very, Royal Shakespeare English and high up there, and it's not for the common man, and it's about abstract art and everything else. And that's my biggest gripe, because I strongly believe that theatre and the arts should be accessible to everyone. And because it has the power to just basically lift people up, but more than just lift people up, it teaches so many things, empathy and about life and about emotions and journey and just appreciation and everything else, right? So that's my biggest gripe, and I think my mission from day one in setting up Sidelines Entertainment was always about how can we make art accessible and how can we reach our audience and grow our audience, and my biggest dream at the end of the day is to develop and grow an audience of Singapore that can be a bit more appreciative to arts and culture, and in their vocabulary of what should we do this weekend. Going to the museums or watching a theatre show, going for a concert will be part of that vocabulary at some point in Singapore's life or journey, right? In the years. And so back to your question about how has my audience evolved, I think even since day one, we were doing live theatre shows, but they were a lot of school outreach. So they're really driven to students, because I saw that as, could be that seed that we sow, right? And in the young. But because of COVID, we couldn't really reach out to them, and there's a lot of regulations, as you know, and MOE and live shows and stuff like that. So, but using that same belief, mission, and wanting to reach out to our target audience, we started developing our various entertainment shows that is in line with what the mission was, right? Which is really wanting to reach out to making art accessible and entertain the audience and stuff. And we begin to see, with tech especially, digital being able to scale, we begin to see firstly a massive growth of numbers that we've never perhaps have in a live show, because there's always a cap in terms of capacity, sitting capacity. Right. That's the first thing. The second thing, we begin to see a growth in new audiences. And how do I know this? Is because through various feedback forms or through various conversations or even IG, social media posting and stuff like that, we begin to see that, these people actually would never step into the theatre. And we're getting them on our events or on our experiences. And so I think we are on the right track. We could do a lot more. But it's very heartening to know that, when you have a very strong purpose and mission, and when you are very clear of who your target audience is, then you create your product to feed both the mission and your market. And then that will match lah.
I love that. You've actually created a brand new demographic, a brand new avatar that you're reaching out to, and these are the people who are tech first, right? The younger people, the people who embrace technology, who have technology in all aspects of their lives, and immediately are more, this immediately appeals to them a lot more. You definitely made me more cultured. I've attended more shows than I have in my entire life, just based on what Sidelines is doing. So I definitely see that growth that you had, and that pivot affecting not just your business, but also bringing on board that new customer demographic. And I think that's something that's really cool for most businesses to start to ask themselves about, because who you're serving ultimately is the customer. And exactly. The other part of it is really finding out what other customer demographics or other customer types that you can reach out to, right? And knowing that allows you to piece together all these things. How does your business evolve? What business model are you doing, and is that still serving your needs in this economy or tomorrow's economy? And I think that's a very powerful frame of mind to have, no matter what business we're running, right? We could be running traditional F&B, we could be running like entertainment, we could be running anything. I think questioning the basic like assumptions that we have on our minds can allow us to really change our business to suit, again, tomorrow's needs.
Exactly. And I give you another example. That said, I think, the buzzwords now is technology and digitalization and smart nation and stuff like that. But I think also we go back to the customer, and I think that's something that you've always been championing, right? It's always the customer. And I think also you see this in your business, in your tech business, in the past and even currently, right? It's so important to listen to your customer. And also to understand where they are at, because in our last experience that we did, Murder at Old Changi Hospital, it was purely tech. It's almost like we built an entire game on a web browser and stuff like that. But that said, the truth is a lot of people are still quite technically challenged, like me, right? So the biggest lesson I've learned from that was really, because we've got a lot of queries and calls about tech issues and stuff like that. Although nothing to do with us, because it has to do with the bandwidth, the server, and all that things, even like what I have experienced earlier, right? So, but then at the end of the day, it's still your problem because you sold them the product, right? And so because of that, we took all that lessons and we reevaluated. And to us, technology, like you said, must be an enabler for or it has to enable us to present, to be able to reach out to our audience. Because if it's a stumbling block, then technology for technology's sake is just vanity, right? And it's just good to have. And so in our new experience right now, in moving forward this year onwards, we've decided to not move away from tech, but combine both on-site live experience with online virtual technology. Because understanding where the people are going towards, people don't want to watch anything online anymore. People want to get out of the house. Regulations are opening. People want to gather as groups. So knowing and looking at all these trends and seeing where people are going, we also have to evolve, and we cannot just be stuck. We want to be technology and everything online. So we have evolved now to combine both on-site experience, live experiences with technology. And the question that we ask ourselves is also, how can we make technology simple and accessible? Because that is still, at the end of the day, the mission of what we want to do, right? We want to make it accessible to people, to the masses. And so in our new experiences, we've incorporated, every Singaporean, how every Singaporean will know what, or rather the common denominator, which is QR code, and scanning QR code and accessing a web on their phone. And so that is how we have kind of listened to our audience, understand where they're going, or understand their needs and where they are, meeting them at where they are at, and creating that product to feed them and to reach them. And so that's our new direction moving forward.
That's such a good point. I think technology sometimes is seen as a cure-all, and sometimes people really make things a lot more complex than it has to be. That is why in businesses, UI, UX, user interface, and user experience, those are so important, because you might have fundamentally you might have a product that you think is so cool and so technologically advanced, but if people cannot use it, people don't know how to use it,
exactly,
it's a bad product, right? And keeping it simple, keeping it to how people know how to use things, letting them truly use technology as a tool rather than a solution. I think that's a great way of structuring it. Again, I think this applies to any business, right? If you have a business that really looks at tech and makes it so complex such that your customer doesn't know how to use it, then I think you need to reevaluate things and start considering, what exactly you're trying to achieve. Sometimes, I think of Colin Chapman of Lotus Automobile. He has this saying that I absolutely love, and for him, it is to add lightness to their cars and then simplify. So typically with cars, people try to make things as complex as possible, adding a lot of electronics, a lot of features. But at the end of the day, maybe you just want to make sure that you add lightness instead, so that your cars can perform better, can drive better, maybe are more reliable, and then you can simplify from there. So I absolutely love what you're saying. I've been taking part in experiences that Sidelines have been creating, and they are very fun. Not like the traditional stuffy theatrical experiences that I was expecting. So I think this is something that people should experience as well. for our audience, what is the best way that they can reach out to you and maybe take part in an experience like this?
So actually talking about experience, we're actually currently running one right now. It's called Time High's Civic District, where we combine both, like I said earlier, theater and film with, games, and it's essentially an outdoor escape game in the city, in the Civic District, where you get to run around the entire Civic District, stop a time heist from happening. So we're combining elements of money heist, combining elements of low-key, because there's some sort of time traveling involved, time bandits, time agents that you have to kind of hunt and stop and kind of thing, and also with technology. So you play this with a mobile phone in a group or in your group. And all you have to do, it's so simple, like you mentioned, you have to find QR codes around the city, scan it, and you get your mission, you get, puzzles to solve, and ultimately to stop a time heist from happening. So it's a very fun 2 to 3 hours activity over the weekend with friends and family. So that is what we're doing, called Time Heist Civic District. And you guys can find out more on our website, sightlines.com.sg. That's sightlines.com.sg.
That's awesome. And this is not just the weekend, right? Like, it's available anytime, I think.
Exactly. So we're actually running all the way to 3rd of July, and with a potential extension. But yeah, it is anytime. It's when you purchase your tickets, it's an open dated ticket, meaning you can play anytime and any day. But you will have to play within between 10 to 5 p.m. because the experience is happening in the day.
Cool. I'm sure they can find more information on your website and follow up on this and maybe take part in the experience as well. Absolutely love what you're doing. Love what you've done. Love how you've evolved as an entrepreneur. Love how you evolved your business over the months, especially in such a difficult period. Thank you so much for your time, Derrick. And thank you everybody for listening to another episode of 7-Minute Scaling Secrets. Thank you so much. And I'll look forward to hearing from you guys in the next episode. Take care.